here's a sign. I thought it would be good to stop before we go to the site of our proposed cultural living center. This is the park, you know, approximately, how many, 500 acres, John? Yeah. And we saw things like IOPO fish trap. This is where the heiau is. The petroglyphs were here. This is another prominent fish pond, Aimakapa. But we are here in the north section, and this is the fish pond, and this is the wall. Our cultural center proposed is going to be right about here, And so this is the entire park. We're hoping that we can also get management rights for another 500 to 600 acres in the ocean, because according to our concept of Ahupua management, our ancestors managed their resources from the ocean all the way up to the mountaintops. And I think the state of Hawaii is finally going to allow us to administer and manage this area and add about another 500-600 acres to the park. We hope so. And collectively, all of this will be an excellent place where Hawaiians can indeed, you know, tell their story and tell it in their own way. We'll go to the site. You know, one of the things we considered in choosing this site was to take it away from the trails, and as you can see, you know, it's quite isolated from the rest of the traffic of the park, because we wanted it to be a place where Hawaiians could live without embarrassment, without, you know, visitors gawking at them. And so we deliberately chose a section of the park that would be more exclusive just for this purpose. So getting to the site is a short hike through some thick bush and undergrowth, and also on some really rough lava flows, lava terrain. So will our elderly citizens, our kupuna, the elder folks, be able to come in here? Of course, we don't want to exclude them. And there is another entrance area where they could come in on an ATV, all-terrain vehicle. So they will have access to this place. But otherwise, you know, we might just keep this as just a natural trail. But once you get into the site, you'll see in a minute how it opens up. Okay, this is one of the northern edge of the site. It will be about 3 to 4 acres. And as you can see, we are clearing all the exotic materials, all the underbrush. Hopefully, only native vegetation will be planted here. And because the Mauka area is sort of exposed to all that urban development, commercial, you know, industrial area, we're planting a screening hedge, so to speak, of native plants like these here. This is Kou, and they seem to be doing well, but on the Mauka section of the Cultural Living Center, we'll be plantings that will screen out all of that industrial area from this very precious cultural site. This area may be considered maybe the central area of our proposed cultural site. When I say cultural site, what do I mean? What we're going to try to recreate here is a cluster of buildings and structures that would be traditionally what our ancestors might have had here 200 years ago. So what kind of structures? In the middle will be what we call a hale halavai, a huge thatch building, a multi-purpose building where people could gather and chat and be a big shaded general assembly area. And maybe to the right will be the hale mua, a house for male activities where men would gather and do the men things, and another holiday for women where they would be doing their things. But also within the area, besides these three major structures, there would be here at Kaloko, other kinds of supporting structures and facilities that would surely have been found in the fish pond area. Places where fish was dried, preserved, maybe an area where they made salt, maybe a worshipping area, a small heiau, a place for drying and storing their fishing equipment, supplies, their nets. So when you come into this area, you will feel like you're in an ancient Hawaiian village as it might have been 200 years ago. And we believe that that experience, that immersion into the physical and spiritual aspects of Kaloko, I think is really going to help Hawaiians to regain a sense of who they are, a sense of what this place means to them today, as well as what it meant to the ancestors many years ago. So, this is just the beginnings. It might have taken us 35 years to get here, but the idea that was born back in 1972 is still alive and well. And with the work of many, many people, for example, we have Nainoa Perry, we have Herb Connie, we're trying to put Ruby McDonald, we're trying to bring as many minds into the process, because no one person knows it all. It is not a one-person restoration project, but we hope that it will reflect another way of Hawaiians telling their story and telling it in their own way. Aloha.